All right, guys. Big news. Big beautiful bill was just passed, right? So, hold on 1 second. Let me adjust the camera real quick. hmm All right, cool. All right, all right. So, big beautiful bill was just passed, and woo! For some, it's good news. For others, it's bad. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, um, we want to know what is the business aspect in this bill that would help us or hurt us. So, first we're gonna go Fox News, and then I'm gonna go to Andrew, Andrewy. I don't know what his name is, but yeah, his podcast, everything is on the we call it link in description below or wherever it is. If you're here again, like and subscribe. I appreciate you. Right, cool. And so yeah, so now we're gonna talk about. Well, we're gonna watch Fox News, and we're gonna basically talk about that big, is huge, tremendous, big beautiful bill. All right, here we go. Give me a second to set everything up. Bam. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Display. Let's make me smaller. Smaller. Wait. That didn't work out. Bam. Let's go to me. Make me smaller. There we go. There we go. Alright. Let's pan over and see what happens. Bam. Bam. Alright, so normally I don't do a Sunday, but now the new thing is like for me to like get ready to do at least Sunday through Friday if possible. You know, other days I might do night or day depending on, but mostly it's gonna be in the morning. Like, subscribe, Levi Apparel. Gotta get ready for that job pretty soon. Just over broke. Just over broke. All right, let's pan over to Fox Beautiful News. Let's go, baby. Is it playing?
Welcome back. The Senate passed President Trump's big, beautiful bill yesterday after Vice President J.D. Vance had to cast a tie-breaking vote. The House will get this bill in less than an hour. The full House vote could happen anytime after that. So expect a vote today. Teeing it up.
All right. So in case you guys didn't know, the big, beautiful bill was passed, right? Since it's passed, then that means, and it was passed by one vote, which is by the vice president, and because of that, it was automatically done, passed, right? So now, what we got going on is basically this: the bill is passed, and now we're gonna dive into it and find out how it's gonna help us who's in like small business, you know, and others who's in big business. It is what it is. Big business is where we try and get to, but you gotta start small.
To be signed into law before the July 4th holiday by President Trump. Joining me now is the Marks Group CEO, Gene Marks. Gene, great to see you. And you cater to small businesses. I want to get your take on this. You say this legislation is going to be a big win for small business owners, especially those who are investing and expanding right now. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Maria, you were talking earlier, in this program about growth and how the president wants to be funding growth. And, the big winners, I think, of this big, beautiful bill are small businesses. And there's a big reason why. I mean, there are certain tax provisions in this bill, investing in capital equipment, spending on research and development, the big deduction for, pass-through businesses, as well as even estate plans. They've increased the exemption for estate taxes. The key thing about all this stuff, which I don't think people are talking about enough, Maria, is they've all been made permanent. Like in the 30 years that I've been a practicing certified public accountant, all of these things have just been extended every few years. And then it's a debate and it goes back and forth. Well, these things are permanent now, which means that small businesses can make long-term decisions about investing in their businesses and selling their businesses or passing it on to new generations, knowing that the laws aren't going to change because of that. I think that's going to have an enormous impact on the growth of businesses.
So that's big. Sometimes as a small business, you start small and you start to grow. But you have other ideas on businesses that you want to start that's beyond the one you started, right? So for example, I'm doing this t-shirt gig, but I've been doing this for a little bit now, for about 4 years maybe. And in that whole process, I've actually kind of changed and I have other things I want to dive into. So if somebody comes along and says, hey, I want to buy Levi apparel, what this is saying is I'll be able to do a transfer easy without worrying about too much legalities about how small business is portrayed in the public world. Or if somebody wants to come in as, like, for example, an investor, and if I so want to do it, all these is based on me. So I'll be able to make the change and it'll be effective. The transition will be a lot smoother than it was before, I guess. Right? So that's basically what he's saying. Oh, I'm not an expert. I'm just
and Gene, you would know your firm specializes in CRM, cloud accounting, and sales and marketing software. What are you hearing from those small business owners today? Are they poised to invest in America? Are they poised to hire people? How are they feeling about the current policies out of the Trump administration?
It's funny that you say that. The sentiment is actually pretty resilient, and it's not just our 600 clients that I'm hearing from. I mean, there's a number of surveys that go around that have been asking small businesses how they feel. Two that I can point out, Maria. I mean, one, Paychex, is the big HR platform. They do every month. It's called the Small Business Employment Watch. They have 750,000 customers. These are small businesses. Their hiring has remained steady throughout 2025. And the National Federation of Independent Businesses as well. So, small business sentiment and confidence ticked up last month and is still at levels that are higher than they were back during the Biden administration. So even with all of these things about tariffs and inflation and higher interest rates and all of that, what I'm seeing, not only in studies, but with my own, client base is the business owners are pretty resilient. And they've been kind of waiting for legislation like this big, beautiful bill so they can start spending some money and making investments,
Well, maybe, but look at the numbers we just got, Gene. I mean, we just got the jobs data by ADP, and it was actually a decline in jobs, 33,000 lost jobs versus an expectation of an increase in jobs of 95,000.
Yeah.
You also had Challenger and Christmas saying that we are talking about the first half of 2025 job cuts, the most since the first half of 2020. So what is your expectations on the second half when it comes to jobs?
First of all, let me point this out. The ADP analysis takes into account all jobs, right? So we're talking about government cutbacks, which some of them are the result.
Good point, yeah.
Yeah, the result of DOGE, as well as healthcare and other industries that might be cutting back because they're getting less government funding, debatable or not. The Paychex report that I mentioned earlier, that's specifically small businesses, and let's not forget, Maria, small businesses in this country, there's 30 million of them. They make up half of the GDP. They employ half of the people in this country. Those are the people that I follow. Their hiring has remained strong, and I am very confident that they're going to continue to hire as the year goes on.
Well, markets are shifting. We are looking at a mixed opening now, about an hour away from the opening bell. The Dow is up, but the Nasdaq and the S&P have turned negative after the ADP data. I want to get your take on what next week looks like, Gene, because the July 9th tariff deadline is approaching, and what that means. I spoke with President Trump about what he's going to do in terms of the exemption, and as well as whether or not he's going to extend that pause on the tariffs. It didn't sound like he's going to extend any tariff extension. In fact, he basically said, no, we're going to write a letter to all these countries and say, this is what you're paying.
Yeah.
Here's what he told me about that. Watch this.
I'm going to send letters. That's the end of the trade deal. I could send one to Japan. Dear Mr. Japan, here's the story. You're going to pay a 25% tariff on your cars, you know. So we give Japan no cars. They won't take our cars, right? And yet we take millions and millions of their cars into the United States. It's not fair. And I explain that to Japan, and they understand it. And we have a big deficit with Japan, and they understand that too.
There you go, Gene. Dear Mr. Japan, this is
It's pretty funny, actually.
cracks me up. Cracks me up. So what about that? Are you expecting these tariffs to be an issue?
First of all, what drives me nuts is how people are writing about how the businesses, small businesses themselves, are suffering under tariffs. I mean, Maria, you've been covering this guy for years. Is this any different than what President Trump was talking about during the campaign, or what he specifically announced after he was elected? And I have countless clients, smart people running businesses, that read the writing on the wall, understood what he was going to do, listened to him, and they made their moves. They've already been navigating their way around. And if I can just give one piece of advice to your viewers, Maria, I mean, I am seeing this explosion in interest in bonded warehouses. So, for example, a lot of small businesses, rather than paying tariffs, they're receiving their inventory into a bonded warehouse in a free trade zone. There are many of them around the country. They defer their tariffs that way. They can wait until these things get negotiated and work their way out, and then pay lower tariffs in the end. That's just like one of like 10 examples I can give you of how the resilient business owners are navigating their way around this stuff. And they will navigate.
And we should point out that countries are navigating as well. This week, we saw Canada give up its digital sales tax. President Trump completely stopped talking to Canada on any trade deal until the digital sales tax was given up, and that's exactly what Canada did. We are expecting a framework of a deal with Canada by July 21st. So we'll see about that. But this is all right now in the hopper. Gene, great to see you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
Gene
Maria.
Marks
Take care.
joining us on the impact of the big, beautiful bill on small business. Here's a look at when markets ended the holiday.
That's the hard part. Go back real quick. Bam. Bam. And bam. All right, cool. All right, so that was the big beautiful bill. You got all the information, as much as they can give. But if you're like, yo, I really don't understand this, and I get more detail on it, like I got somebody that's more focused on this bill being explained. Let's play it real quick. Give me a second. So yeah, again, that was a big beautiful bill, and it was passed. I think it was the day before 4th of July, or if it was the day before 4th of July or something like that. Was it? Anyways, it was passed in July. July 4th, the president was able to do his signing stuff. I believe. Go check it out. Check the information. Don't believe what I say. Remember, I'm a YouTuber, so it is what it is. Content creator. So yeah, go check them out. All right. So now we're gonna focus on getting more detail on exactly what this bill is about. What is it really? What is it about? All right. Let's find out some more information. All right. So in case you're wondering, my channel is custom design, DIY, small business, just helping people get started while I'm doing my blog, video vlog on my channel about me growing and what I'm doing to grow, how I'm doing more innovative things to be able to do certain things, because I may not have the equipment, but I know and understand the means of how to get there. So because of that, I started this channel to basically help people who want to be helped. If not, this is just entertainment. Check it out, like it, subscribe it. If not, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so like and subscribe to the channel. But we're basically talking right now about big beautiful bill, how it's affecting us. Now again, I did say that I'm gonna be pivoting to more worldly local news that's gonna affect us as small businesses, and also things that's going on in the world that we should probably know. At the end of the day, the whole purpose is make a video, make a shirt. But it's been a little bit hard because I got job, family, all that stuff. So we're gonna get there. The goal is make a video, make a shirt. Hence the channel, Levi Apparel. We make apparel designs and stuff like that. Check out the website, leviapparel.com. We do custom design stuff if you want it. I used to have a really good image storage where you can see your clothing, image on it, all that stuff. But it was a lot of money, and since I'm not getting that much volume on the on the website, I'm like, I'm not paying for all this when people are not really receptive to it. Some people just call me up and like, hey, I want this and that, and I just have to do it. So yeah, like, subscribe, check out the website. The more you guys check it out, the more high tech it's gonna get, because it's expensive to make it high tech. But anyways, yeah, so we're gonna learn more about the big beautiful bill, right? So let's check it out. And also, all the links in the description is on the link in the description below. Check it out. All right, here we go. Bam. All right, let's play this. Let's play this, baby. Okay.
Trump's entire presidency, and it just passed both the House and the Senate, and today, July 4th, it's going to be signed by the president. And this new law will have major changes to things like taxes, healthcare, student loans, energy, retirement accounts like the Roth IRA, and the entire economy. Now, there's a lot of confusions about it. It's controversial, it's big, and it affects almost everyone. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the bill by explaining the big changes that affect almost everyone. And as I get closer to the end of the video, I'll sort of expand into the wider economy and how this will have huge effects for investors. First, there's no federal taxes on tip income and overtime pay, at least up to a certain amount. Now, you can pause the video and look at this yourself, but remember the Trump tax cuts from 2017? They were originally set to expire at the end of this year. But with this bill, they're now going to be permanent. From 2025 through 2028, this bill will add a few new short-term tax breaks that could make a difference depending on how you make your money. If you work in a service job, for example, or you put in extra hours, that's more money that you're going to get to keep. But the benefit phases out once you make more than $150K a year or $300,000 as a couple. Next up, if you're in the market to buy a new car, there's some major changes. There's going to be a new deduction for interest paid on car loans, but only for new cars that were assembled here in the US. Now, we all know no car is 100% made in the US, so the bill defines this as the final assembly, meaning the car can have parts sourced from all over the world. It can even be assembled in another country. But as long as the final assembly is here in the US, it will qualify for that deduction. And the deduction is up to $10,000 per year. And that sounds like a nice win, and it is, but according to analysts, the actual savings work out to less than $500 per year for most people. So it's definitely helpful, but it's not going to be life-changing. But now let's talk about student loans. The way this bill is trying to help students is not by pardoning the debt. Instead, it's trying to help by controlling it. And that's because the big beautiful bill puts new caps on how much students can borrow. $100,000 for graduate students and $200,000 for medical and law students. Now, the official reason behind why these changes are in place is to control what lawmakers are calling unlimited and unsustainable borrowing. Because right now, under something called the Graduate Plus Loan Program, there's technically no cap on how much students can borrow to go to school as long as the school certifies the cost, which of course they love to do. The government will lend for it. And that's led to some pretty eye-popping student loan levels, and this is a way to control that spending. And I actually really like this idea. Now, if you have kids, Here's another important change. The child tax credit is getting a small bump from $2,000 per child to $2,200. And starting in 2026, it'll adjust for inflation each year by about 2 to 3% or so. It's not as much as the House originally wanted, which was $2,500, but it's still an increase. But there's also one catch. Not every family qualifies for the full amount. If you're a low-income family, the credit doesn't just show up. You have to earn above a certain threshold to get it. And it's estimated that about 17 million kids won't see the full benefit because those families don't make enough. Now let's move on to healthcare, because this is one of the most controversial parts of the entire bill. The big beautiful bill cuts about $800 billion from Medicaid over the next 10 years. Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean the program is going away, but it does mean that the rules are going to get stricter. For example, if you have no children, you'll need to work at least 80 hours a month just to stay enrolled. And you'll also have to prove your income and residency twice a year instead of once. And if you miss that paperwork's deadline, even if by accident, you could lose coverage. Now, the reason why the government is doing this is because they want to lower government spending and encourage more people to come to work, which is good. But the Congressional Budget Office also estimates that up to 12 million Americans could lose access to health care because of these changes. So if you've got older parents, or if you're in between jobs, or you're working part-time, this could make things a little more complicated, so just be aware of that. Now, obviously, this bill has been getting a lot of attention, but depending on where you get your news, the stories look completely different. And that's why, while I was researching for this video, I actually used a tool called Ground News, which is also the sponsor of today's video. Ground News pulled together over 130 articles from across the political spectrum, and just look at the difference. Left-leaning sources framed this bill as harmful to seniors, children, and the poor. Now, the center mostly focused on the $3.3 trillion price tag and how narrow the vote was, and right-leaning outlets called it a massive win for tax reform and government efficiency. Ground News actually shows you all of this side by side so you can compare the coverage, the bias, the framing, without falling into an echo chamber. And that helped me a lot when writing this breakdown. So if you're someone who wants to see all the angles and form your own opinion, you can check them out at ground.news/JIC, or just hit the link in the description below to get 40% off the same Vantage plan I use myself. Let's talk about food prices, because the bill also changes something called SNAP, which is the food assistance program that used to be called food stamps. Now, if you've never used it, you might not think it matters, but SNAP helps feed over 40 million Americans, so any changes here will affect the economy in a big way. And under this new bill, the benefits will now adjust more slowly for inflation. Just like Medicaid, there's now going to be a work requirement. If you're an adult between 18 and 55 and you have no children, you'll need to work at least 80 hours a month to qualify. Now, critics argue that this could kick millions of people off the program, but supporters say it's about encouraging people to find work and be less reliant on the system for support. Now let's talk about energy. If you've noticed your utility bill going up lately, you're probably not alone. And this bill is going to have a lot to do with it, because the bill shifts a lot of money away from the green energy programs and puts it into oil, gas, and nuclear power. Now, supporters say that in the longer term, this will lower our energy prices because it will boost U.S. production and cut back on government subsidies. But it also means less tax credits for things like solar panels and energy-efficient upgrades, which could make those things more expensive. The bill also gives the state the option to charge us extra fees on utility bills.
You know, the fact he was talking about solar panels and more taxes and stuff, I hope they really get rid of that energy bill bullshit. Pardon my French. I'm sick and tired of these energy solar people coming to my freaking house. Pardon my French again. I'm a filthy French stalker. But anyways, like, it's annoying. Like, yo, leave me alone. So, in case you didn't know, the solar panel people, right, they get $8,000 from every time they make a deal on getting solar panel to you, right? Now, how do you benefit? Majority of the time, this is what they do, right? You're supposed to get, so the energy bill, I think, right? So whatever it's called, it's supposed to be like this. The solar panel goes on your house. Since you're drawing energy from the sun, the energy that's excess is supposed to go to the electric people, right? Electric companies. When it goes to the electric companies keep it in the grid, and they put in like a battery bank for you or something like that, right? I'm not very versed in it. Check people who do it. So as they hold it in the bank for you, if it's winter time, what happens is you're able to utilize that extra energy. When you run out, you start paying your regular bill, because now the electric company people are the ones who are electric/gas company are the ones who are giving you the energy, and there's no more what's that thing called, reserve. And because there's no more reserve, you have to now get it from them, and then you start paying your regular energy bill, right? Which is usually a lot. So because of these guys and those energy bill that they started, the energy companies spiked up the bill, because the incentive was to force us who don't have the solar panels to try to get it. Now, this is the messed up part. When you go get the solar panel, if you don't install it yourself, have the electricity people come out and set it up yourself, you have to pay the people who are coming to your house, right, who is setting it up. Normally, the guy that finishes the contract with you gets, I believe, around $8,000. That $8,000 does not get shared to you, right? So now they get $8,000, right? Once everything gets installed and starts running, that's when you start paying your bill for some people. Now, the year's over, you're going to pay taxes, and you have an energy what's that thing called, discount. So you go in to put it, and whatever state you're in, if they do it, they send you they're supposed to send you like a check saying that, hey, you did the energy thing, here's like a bonus. If you owe money, that gets deducted. If you don't, then you get a check, whatever, as a refund. So when that happens, if you spend that refund, you're in big trouble, because that refund is supposed to go to the energy people, the solar companies that give you, that put their system on your roof. Now, it's your roof. They drawing energy from it, sending it to the energy companies. The energy company is holding it. Now, here's the funny thing. Sometimes you don't even have a right to your own roof equipment, because technically it's not yours. Majority of the time, people can't afford it, because it's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, sometimes even more thousands of dollars. So now you go on like a payment plan, and the payment plan is the same amount you were paying for your electricity anyways. You just have two bills now. You have the solar bill, you have the electricity bill. When your usage runs out, or your bank runs out. So now you have two bills that you have to pay for sometime 2 to 3 months, and you can't get out of it, right? If you were to get out of it, they would have to remove the equipment out. And to remove the equipment out, you have to pay for them to remove the equipment out. They don't just say, oh, okay, you don't want it anymore? Okay, fine. And that gets me upset. You know what I mean? So in essence, at the end of the day, I'm kind of glad they're doing this, because I don't want it. Get this freaking energy bill thing out. Remove it. So us who own houses that don't want solar on top of our roof, unless we put it ourselves, right? So now, if you put your own solar, let me pin off to me real quick. Give me a quick second. Okay, give me a quick second. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on. Cool. So that's set up. All right. So now, like I was saying, if you are the one that set it up, now remember when they set it up, the guy who finishes the contract normally, from what I understand, they get $8,000, right? That's why they're hounding you. They're constantly on your door, wanting to know, can I put solar in your house? Can I put solar in your house? Can I put solar in your apartment, your house, whatever it's called, right? If you're in an apartment, it's fine because only the owner can put solar on top of the apartment if they want. You know what I'm saying? If you're a house owner, oh my God. They're going to keep hounding you, and their ploy is always, look at your neighbor. He fell into that trap. Why don't you get into it? I don't want solar panels on top of my freaking roof. Because here's the thing. After they get the $8,000 or whatever amount they get, right, for being able to finish the contract, now you have solar panels on your roof, right? Sometimes it takes a year for you to even get that solar panel set up, by the way. So you're still paying your regular bill, right? Now, let's say set up. You're paying the solar panel bill, which is actually your regular electric bill that you were paying before, that now you're paying it as a loan to a company for the solar panels, right? So you don't really get off of paying your electric bill. You're still paying it, except now you have more payments. All right, cool. So most people are proponents for solar panels. I love solar panels. I want solar panels, but I don't want these companies to put it for me, right? I would love to get a Tesla wall, whatever you call it, and set it up myself. And here's the other thing. If you don't have one of those Tesla wall setup energy, you know, whatever it's called. So this Tesla Powerwall, what it does is basically this. If you have the grid set up just like you would for regular solar, you know, energy setup, right? But the Tesla wall allows you to be able to, if for any reason, right, there's like a thunderstorm and the whole grid is out, you will still be on, but the Tesla Powerwall is going to kick in. It's going to shut down the flow to the utility company, right, and switch on to the flow of the house and Tesla Powerwall only. Now, when everything goes back to normal, there's a switch, supposedly, that switches back, and your Tesla Powerwall goes back to being just a regular generator, hovering, waiting for you to, you know, have power. I mean, get out of power for it to reboot, right? But you can also set it up that you're running on the Tesla, right? And then any excess gets sent to the utility company. When there's like a outage, right, everything stops going to utility and just continues flowing through the house. So that's the Tesla Powerwall. Now, when you send up these solar panels with these companies, they don't offer you that. As a matter of fact, it's a separate agreement. It's a separate setup if you want that. And it's a lot more money, right? They did that on purpose. They could have just set it up. Now you have a generator. If anything happens, you still have power. But if you set up the solar panels with those companies and the grid goes out because of an electric storm or a damage, you are out of power. The solar panels on your roof is useless. It just sits there until the electricity comes back on, and it signals the your electrical system to now turn the generator back. I mean, turn the solar panels setup back, and then start flowing the energy again. So you can have solar power energy, and then any excess goes to the utility company. So that's what I understand about the setup. I hate it. I don't like it. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it myself, right? So now, if you do it yourself, this is what happens. You can put your own solar panels on your roof. There's companies that will come out and do that for you, right? You can get your new roof, right? All that costs money. So why not take out a loan for yourself, get your new roof, add the solar panels, right? And once you add the solar panels, you talk with the electric company. They send somebody out. They set everything up for you. The electric guys finishes turning it on, and the solar utility company connects it to the grid, and now you're all set to go, right? That happens a lot quicker, right? In some cases. So here's the thing. Remember, they have something called an energy bill at the end where you get a return, right, on your taxes. Return meaning money. So the money you get from setting up yourself goes to you and your pocket. Any energy you send to the electric company or utility company, they pay you. However, when those companies set it up, everything, all those payments goes to them, right? The payment for utilities company for the extra power goes to them. You send up everything, right? You pay the guy, and that's part of your contract, whatever, right? And then on top of that, the refund that you get is supposed to go to that company also. And it gets even better. On top of that, you paying them a monthly payment installment for the loan you took out. So in essence, you're still paying a utility bill. It's just called solar panels. That's it. You're still paying a utility bill. And that's the part I can't get around. But you can set it up yourself. You can get that money yourself. The loan that you're paying, yes, it's going to be as if you're paying your utility company, but it goes towards your credit to improve it. And then when you're done paying that, right, guess what? You have no more bill, and that money goes back to your pocket. With those solar companies, they know when you're about to finish paying it. And majority of the time, you know what they do? They close their company down, change the name, reboot a new company, and then come to you and ask you, hey, listen, this company no longer exists. We can take over your loan, yada, yada. And then you have to refinance it or redo whatever you have to sign another contract, and now they take over. And the ploy they give you is this. If anything happens and that company does not exist, now it is up to you to fix any problem, and then you have to seek and find a company, and it's going to be extra money. That's the part I hate. All right. So I just want to talk about that, about solar panels. I really dislike the whole setup they have. And but anyways, it is what it is. It is. For some, solar panels are good. Having solar energy is good. But when it's at the cost of you being in prison by a contract, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. All right, let's let this guy continue. All right, come on, buddy. Let's go.
If our electricity use goes above a certain monthly limit, it's kind of a stealth tax for people who like to run the AC a lot. And as someone who lives in Las Vegas, that's not good for me. Now, this bill also has some major changes to the Roth IRA by 2026. And this is super important. Right now, you know that if you make too much money to contribute to a Roth IRA, there's a loophole. You can just contribute to a traditional IRA and then convert it to a Roth. A lot of people I know do this, and it's totally legal, but not for a lot longer. Because starting in 2026, this bill will get rid of the backdoor Roth IRA strategy completely. That means no more after-tax IRA conversions. If you've been doing that trick every year to build tax-free income in retirement with a backdoor or even a mega backdoor Roth IRA, you might want to start looking at other options right now. And there's two reasons why they're doing this. First, it raises tax revenue. And second, lawmakers say that this loophole mainly benefits wealthy people and wasn't really what Roth IRAs were intended for in the first place. But the government hopes instead you're going to use a new retirement account to replace the Roth IRA. And that's something called the Trump Retirement and Savings Accounts, or TRSAs. These are basically a new kind of tax-advantaged savings account, or basket as some people like to call it, and it's designed to replace Roth IRAs over time. Here's how it's going to work. There will be no income limits to contribute to this account, and the federal government will contribute $1,000 to an investment account for every American baby born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. You'll also be able to contribute up to $5,000 in after-tax income per year to this account. And the catch is that the money can only be invested in index funds that track the overall U.S. stock market, which is pretty awesome.
You know what's interesting about that, right? So index funds and stuff like that, basically, you know what? Let me let him say it, because it's really cool, because now you're basically investing in your in your country.
They're trying to encourage people to invest in the U.S. economy, and a $1,000 investment, for example, at the time of your birth, at an average yearly return of 8%, would turn into about $4,000 by the time you turn 18. It'll turn into more than $10,000 by the age of 30, and over $148,000 by age 65. Now, you've also probably heard that this bill will help the rich, and here...
Hold up. Let's roll that big, beautiful bean footage back. Wait, what? What? Let me see this. Let's go back. Let's go. We need to rewind this. My friend, speak.
Would turn into about $4,000 by the time you turn 18. It'll turn into more than $10,000 by the age of 30, and over $148,000 by age 65.
Wait a minute. So that means you can have extra funds available by the time you reach 65, which is retirement age. Now, this current generation born in the 2020s, whatever, their retirement is a little bit longer. So I think it's like what, 60, 67. It's a little bit. I don't know. I'm gonna say, just check for real quick. But normally retirement is 65. Hopefully it's the same for them. 60 is retirement. 65 is more like for you to get like Medicare, Medicaid, or whatever services that the government have available for you at that age, for you to be able to get health insurance and funding to come to you to help you out, right? So yeah, but man, are you kidding me? So you mean I can have a little stash set up? Nice. I like that. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
Now, you've also probably heard that this bill will help the rich, and here's how it's going to do that. If someone makes over $1 million a year...
Now, you notice all the stuff he said, right? About regular, common folks, businesses, how it's helping out. But a lot of people purposely focus this on helping the rich. Listen, the main focus of everybody's goal and aspiration is to be rich. I don't know why people are hating on the rich. At the end of the day, see how they doing stuff, follow them, find out how they got to where they are. For example, Elon Musk, right, known for sleeping in his office. This is how that works, right? When you have a business, you pay rent for the business and utilities. Those rent and utilities can be written off as business loss. You write it on your taxes as a loss, and it gets claimed as like if you made, let's say you paying $10,000 a month. That's a hypothetical for your business location, right? No, for the year. $10,000 for the year for your business location. Now, you made $50,000. That $10,000 minuses as a loss on your $50,000. You only made $40,000 for the year. That's how that works when you deduct things from business expenses. You bought equipment, you bought this, you bought that, you bought this, you bought that. You keep buying, you keep doing this, you keep doing that, innovation, advertising, all that stuff. That goes towards deductions for whatever you made for the year, and that says, okay, this is how much you really made. So if you made, let's say 50,000, let's use 100,000. You made 100,000 for the year, right? 10,000 was for your, I don't know, your rent or whatever. Another 5,000 for utilities. That's 15,000, right? Let's say another, you bought equipment. I don't know. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to do the math. Right? So what did I say? So 15,000, right? That's 10,000 for the rent. Another 5,000 for equipment. Right? So that's 15,000. And let's add another 20,000, right? We add another 20,000. The 15, 20, that's 35,000, right? 35,000. I don't know. Let's add another. What that? What I say? 35,000. Let's add another 15,000 or something like that for maybe Brochure advertisement, right? So that's like what? Let's see. That's 3, 4. So that's like what? 50,000, right? Yeah, 50,000, right? 35, 15, 50,000, right? Is it 50,000? Yeah, 40. If it was 10, it'd be 45 plus 5. 50. Yeah, 50,000. All right. So now you minus that by the 100,000. So you only owe 50,000, right? If my math is right. So 50,000 worth of expenses minus the 100,000 you made, you're only paying 50,000 at the end of the year. You know, if you don't minus other stuff. So in essence, like your company only made 50,000 because when you minus all the expenses, right? Now where was I going with this? Oh yeah. I was talking about like small businesses and how like the funding and stuff helps, and then I went to Elon Musk. Okay, so now you understand how business, you know, and all that stuff, deduction and you know whatever, right? Check with your tax accountant. I'm just a regular YouTuber. Who knows? Maybe I'm saying wrong numbers. I don't know. Yeah, so what happens is when you go in and you're able to, what time is it? Okay, 45. I gotta get ready to go. And you're able to do what the rich does. You are able to be successful. Eventually, you become those rich guys. So you're gonna want those loopholes to exist and stop talking about them as being bad, because at the end of the day, that's the whole goal of everybody. Everybody wants to be rich, right? So if you want to be rich, you want those loopholes to exist so you can be able to make more and help more people. A lot of people don't understand that the rich help more people than the government actually does. And because of that, the government gives them tax write-offs and advantages so they can keep doing that, because there's so many people that the government don't know about that businesses are able to reach to and help out. A lot of businesses give money to nonprofits who use that money to help other people. I'm talking about real nonprofits that help real people, right? I'm not talking about the ones that scam people, right? So them being able to get a discount is good for you. This is the part that I don't get. You have a lot of politicians talking about this is all about the rich. This is all about this is not just about the rich. This is about you too, right? The more they get as a discount, the more they're able to invest in the community, the more they're able to help people, the more they're able to put back in the business pocket and use that money to help more businesses that need help, and nonprofits that need help, and other people that need help. So be careful with these politicians talking about, this is for the rich only. This is helping the big rich. It's called a what's that thing? It's one of those things where they find a topic that's everybody can so-called relate to because they have a dislike for it, and then we all come in unison to dislike whatever that they're portraying, which is in this case the rich. I hope they do get the discounts, because hell, one day I would love to be in that situation. Shoot, let me be a billionaire. You feel me? And I want you too. All right, let's play that big beautiful bitch footage. Oh yeah. So Elon Musk, what he did was basically this. The saying was, and he's also said it, he slept in his offices. Now you know that when you remove yourself from, and I've done it too. So yeah, him doing that was a strategic move. He didn't have to worry about paying for an apartment. that you can't write off, right? So what ended up happening is, oh, something on my neck. I don't know. It's weird. But anyways, he didn't have to pay for an apartment. Dang, it's time for me to go. And because he didn't have to pay for an apartment, whatever he did was a write-off. If he bought food, right, while he was in the company midst, right, it's considered company. It's a company deduction because he's doing business, and as he's doing business, he needs to eat, so the company needs to feed him. So therefore, it's a company deduction. Where he sleeps and lodges, right, the company's providing that. So since the company's providing that, it's a write-off, right? So he utilized that, saving money. And that's the thing about being rich. It's not about you spending money. It's about how much money you can save through different means to now use it and utilize it to grow your company and yourself, right? So now, being able to do that, he was able to save a lot. The money he saved, he was able to put back into his business. Imagine you're paying, let's say, $600 a month, right? So you're paying $600 a month, right? Hold on, let's see, $600 a month, and so basically that's $72. I mean $72,000. Why am I saying thousand? $7,200 per month. I mean per year. Sorry, per year. Again, I'm just a regular YouTuber. So per year, he would be paying, if hypothetical, he was paying $600 for like a, I don't know, a studio back then, right? For 12 months, that would be $7,200 he'd be paying per year. Now, you take that money and you invest it into a business, you're growing exponentially. Now, I don't know his situation, what he went through, but that's what he said, and I'm just giving hypotheticals here. So now you use that, right? Let's say you're a person that says, hey, you know what? I want my business to run, but I want to be in a location where I can also run my business 24 hours and be there at the same time, relieving me of, rent or whatever. If you have a facility that allows you to be there 24 hours, because let's say you want to do YouTube podcasting, you want to do your business, you want to do all this stuff, and you need all this time to do it, and the person says, hey, you have 24 hours, there's a shower there, whatever, as long as you're conducting business, you're good to go. Guess what? Now you can actually be there and not have to worry about paying rent at a location, right? As long as you're there for business purposes and you're doing business transactions, right? Now, although it's a business, you still need to take breaks. So you may have to take a break, go to a restaurant, eat some food, right? You may have to take a break, go hang out with a friend. You may have to take a break and go do other stuff. That's not business related because it's break. So in essence, you're able to pull some of those things off. I don't really recommend it because that's not really, a business focus on how to grow. It's best just make it out of your house and then just build a studio. And from the studio, you can write off portions of your house, i.e. you can write off your business, So yeah, it is what it is. Now, let's say you're able to save, you're able to grow, and you're able to use your business to grow your whatever. You're making money. Now, the money you have, you can use it towards advertising, all this stuff, because now you're not paying rent to somebody else. And the money you would pay rent for yourself, let's say you now can utilize this towards pushing the business, spending time to continue thinking about business and grow. All right, I gotta go. So like and subscribe, Levi Apparel. Check his stuff out. This guy is really good. Let me pan over to me. I was gonna play the whole thing, but I got to go. Go. So yeah, check his stuff out. He's really good. All right, cool. Again, like, subscribe, Levi Apparel. I appreciate you. But yeah, don't hate on millionaires and billionaires and trillionaires, right? One day that might be you. I hope that's you. I really hope that's you. And if it is, I pray and hope that you grow and able to use these advantages to continue to grow your business yourself and eventually use that money again to help others who needs that help, who's a small business that needed this push as a loan to grow, right? So like, subscribe, Levi Apparel. I'm out. I'm out. Peace. Check links in description on the channel.